Okay, let's do a review on a lens that I found stunning. It even shocked me. I had borrow of this lens 3 months ago for 4 days by a buddy, but his turned out to have a decentered issue. It could have been the UPS driver or FedEx driver dropped it. Nikon is equally responsible for producing a bad copy of a lens, so I can't fault this lens. I'm going to actually call this a must-own lens. It's a real shocker. A lot of people have accused me of being a Nikon fanboy and only promoting Nikkor lenses, and that's actually not true. I wouldn't care if this lens was marked, Turd Muffin Incorporated, as long as it produced excellent results. Results are all that matter. As is the case, a lot of the off-brand lenses are just subpar, and I can't recommend them, and I've tried them, and I just can't recommend them. And this is an exception. Now, this lens, the Nikkor 14-24, was produced in 2007, so it has taken 8 years for somebody to produce something that doesn't match it but bests it. After 3 trials, I've actually come to the conclusion that I actually had to buy this lens. The first trial was basically a scrub because the lens was a bad copy. It was probably dropped in shipping or something, so that doesn't count. I had 2 more tries with this lens, and it's absolutely stunning, and I put my money where my mouth is. And first off, I have to say that why I think not to be tooting my own horn, so don't take this the wrong way, my review on this lens is more valuable than others on this lens or the Nikkor 14-24, is that I pay for my own lenses. Nobody's yanking my own chain to give a review on anything. No free gear. I'm not getting kickbacks from any manufacturers or retail stores. I'm getting nothing. Not even a free t-shirt, and I don't care. I know more about lenses and I have more experience with lenses than these other guys. And, I've been in the industry and worked and used a lot of lenses. And as a platonic truth seeker, as a Platonist and a truth seeker, I actually have to be a person that is always has an open mind, but discriminates with logic as far as what is good, better, best, why it is better. And I have to rate this must-own lens a 9.5 out of 10 on a scale of 1 to 10. And I did not jump to, while these videos are extremely low budget, obviously, I did not jump to this conclusion easily or quickly or hastily. So when I make this recommendation as a hardcore must-buy, I have to give it a lot of thought, regardless of these non-existent budget videos that I'm making. I tested this on full frame and DX, and it's perfect for both, and here it is. This is it. It's a Tamron 15-30. 2.8. I've kind of nicknamed it the honking log because it is just an enormous beast. Now here you can compare it side by side, if I flip it the correct way obviously, to the Nikon 14-24. You can see how much thicker and bigger that it is. It weighs roughly 3 ounces more than the 14-24. It's 18 elements. It's 2.54 pounds. Minimum focus distance is 0.28 meters, i.e. 11 inches. Yeah, I really do rate this a 9.5 out of 10. Let's go down the list of what it has, doesn't have. By the way, I have to first mention that this is not really an f2.8 lens. So the largest camera reviewer on Earth online, they were perplexed, and they said their own review, they couldn't figure out why that the field of view on this had to be brought to 16 millimeters on the Nikkor 14-24 to match the 15 here. This is technically, not my opinion, a 15.8 millimeter field of view lens and an f3.2. It is not really an f2.8 as it's marked, which is no big deal. After all these considerations, do I still rate this a 9.5 out of 10? Yes, you're darn well right I do. Let's take a look at the front. You can see how much larger the front element is on the Nikkor 14-24 than the Tamron. Sigma, Tachina, and Tamron, they all do this. And in the next video, I'm going to tell you the reason for this, why they do it, and in this case, it's not relevant, okay? Let's go down the list here. Now, as far as corner vignetting, the Tamron 15 to 30 is just absolutely bloody stunning. It's just stunning. It smokes the 14 to 24. Flat out, it just absolutely smokes it. Very fast, quiet autofocus. Perfect for FX or DX use. We did exhaustive testing on this lens, the 15 to 30 on DX D7100. It's an equivalent angle of interception, i.e. field of view, that is 22 millimeters to 45. So basically almost a 20 to 50 millimeter. So perfect recommendation for full frame or DX camera use. It's got a hydrophobic front element fluorine coating, so in case you get dirt or like iron oxide spray on the front element, it's easy to clean. You'll notice that unlike the 14 to 24 that has a moving, bellowing front element, you'll notice that there's a double pedal design on this as I zoom from 15 to 30. It is chunky. What does it have that the 14 to 24 has, and how is it superior to it? After 8 years, it's taken 8 years for somebody to produce something not only equal to, but superior to the Nikkor 14 to 24. It does have vibration control, so excellent for low light. This is a perfect landscape or architectural or indoor lens. Close to far focus throw is very shallow, which is great, so again, throw it into manual focus. You got a very shallow throw from infinity to 11 inches. Another excellent thing, it's got better center sharpness and far better corner sharpness than the 14 to 24 has. Things even out right about f8 on the two. As far as low contrast focusing, the Tamron smokes the Nikon 14 to 24 2.8. It just does smoke it, period. It flat out does. A couple of other people confirmed this as well. I've confirmed it as well. Corner sharpness all the way open at 15 is basically non-existent and sharp as hell, which is just absolutely unimaginable on a super wide like this. And Tamron nailed it. There's only a couple Tamrons that I actually recommend to this and the 70 to 200 to 2.8 VC lens. Like I said, I did not come to this conclusion very quickly or very hastily at all. Amazing corner sharpness, as I mentioned. 15mm vignetting is non-existent. Flare. The flare on the Tamron 15 to 30 absolutely smokes. The Nikkor 14 to 24 2.8 far superior there. Is made in Japan. Okay, excellent. Does have vibration control. Negatives. It is a honking log. Just looking at it, I mean, it's like a fat sumo wrestler sitting on the front of your camera. I mean, this is a full frame camera with a vertical grip. You can imagine if I took the vertical grip off or just used a DX camera, how huge this lens. Still not an issue. Got small hands, not an issue for me. As far as the zoom ring, is it silky smooth? It is smooth, but can you single finger zoom this lens like you can the 14 to 24? No, you certainly cannot. Negative? No, it's not. It is smooth. It is quieter, and it is faster on autofocus than the 14 to 24 is, and it has better autofocus acquisition on low contrast subjects that you're focusing on. Yeah, ergos, that being its downside, which I just mentioned. All aperture ranges are half a stop darker on the Tamron than the 14 to 24. The world's other largest website that did a review on this lens, they couldn't figure it out. I mean, I know the reason why it's darker. One issue, which really isn't an issue for me, is that at 30 millimeters, it has an issue with either built-in pop-up flash or with speed light, either on camera or off, that at 30 millimeters it will overexpose by 3/4 of a stop, so I actually have to induce compensate. And that is not only the D750, but the D810 and the Nikon D3. So if that's an issue, then it really isn't to me at all. It still rates a 9.5 out of 10. This has incredible coma. I mean, with the coma on this, it makes it a great astro lens. I mean, it's hard to say it, but it's just undeniable. It is an excellent astro lens. So if you're looking for an astro lens, believe it or not, this will make a perfect astro lens. It's $1,200, which is 60% the cost of the 14 to 24. And I said the only thing, I'll talk about this in the next video, it is not a 15 to 30. It is technically a 15.8 to 30, and it's not a 2.8. It is a f3.2 lens. I'll talk about that in the next video. That's not a negative. I'm pragmatic. I understand lenses and optics better than the other folks that were having it. They couldn't figure out on this other website. They said they couldn't figure out why they actually had to change the field of view to 16 millimeters on this to get it to match 15 millimeters here. It's because this is a 15.8. It's not a 15. So to me, that's no big deal. They call it 16 to 30. Tamron went with that to to designate it a 15 to 30. There are business reasons, and it's no big deal to me. Other people would complain about that. I don't. The lens is absolutely phenomenal. It's only $1,200. To those of you who couldn't afford the Nikkor Trinity 14 to 24, I actually would recommend this now over the 14 to 24 for $800 less. And I still, with those there's no lens that's perfect. Every lens has got its own little issues. It's the same reason why all these dummies out there are fighting over telephoto. Well, the Nikkor 70-200 VR2 is best. No, the 80-200 best. No, the Tamron. Every lens has its own spectrum of awesomeness, or it could actually suck completely. But I still have to rate this as a must-buy 9.5 out of 10. Given all the criteria and going over the considerations over and over and over again, it's exquisite. It's absolutely an exquisite lens. And I didn't even say that to that extent on the other Tamron lens, which is the only recommendation I've got, the 70-200 2.8 VC lens. I never gave it that high of a recommendation. Even though I love the lens, super fast autofocus, vibration control, far superior to the Nikon 70-200 to 2.8 to VR2. It is superior, but I still wouldn't rate it as far as exquisiteness as high as I do the 15 to 30 Tamron here. Tamron didn't give the 14 to 24 a run for its money on this lens. They just flat out kicked its fanny. I say that begrudgingly because this is an exquisite lens. This is actually a 2.8, and it is an actual 14 to 24. But it's also $2,000. Is the zoom a lot silkier and I can do it with this one finger? Yeah. But the Tamron 15 to 30 with vibration control, it blows the blows the 14 to 24 out of the water. And center sharp, vignetting, it just blows it right off the face of the earth. Vignetting, the Nikon can't even touch it. Can't even touch it with a cattle prod. Corner sharpness, it beats the Nikon. Flare, it blows the Nikon right off the planet. Flare is incredible on the Tamron 15 to 30. It smokes it in vignetting. Vignetting is just absolutely unbelievable. Corner sharpness and vignetting on the 15 to 30 are incredibly awesome. They're almost unbelievable. It is just unbelievable. So as a truth seeker and someone that's not getting shilled by any camera store, or certainly not Tamron or Nikon, I have to give the Tamron a 15 to 30 a must-buy 9.5 rating out of 10. It's exquisite, it's divine. I've done exhaustive testing with it, and I can't fault it. I can't fault it. The very few negatives, the fact that it's a honking log like a fat sumo wrestler sitting on the front of the camera, I still can't fault it, and it gets my highest recommendation. Anyway, if you like this video, you could always donate a buck or two. That doesn't mean I changed anything as far as the endorsement on this lens, or you can tell me to jump off a cliff. But this is an honest review, and I did exhaustive testing. And I hope you like this video, because I was glad to make it for you. Thanks.